Hey guys, Adam here. Just been talking this morning in the paddock. As you can see, I normally do a lot of coaching calls out here. But I'm talking this morning with one of my guys who's a hyper intelligent business owner, really personable guy, very smart, has a very good business. And he, like many of us, has encountered this thing of, we worked really hard early in the year to construct for him the 24/40 lifestyle, which I've mentioned previously in this blog, which is working 24 hours a week, which is 8 hours a day, 3 days a week maybe, or slightly less, or maybe 4 or 5 hours a day, and having 40 weeks or so off a year. 40 weeks on and 12 weeks or more off. Now, it worked out that was actually a very doable process for him. So when we go into this process, the first thing we look at is why do it, because that's often a thing is, what's the why behind it? What will you do with your time? Why is it important? What are you going to do once you've got that bandwidth? The second thing is really how to do it. And that's a fair leap for a lot of people. It's not always straightforward and easy. Depending on the level of business you're at, there's sort of 3 key ways you can do that, which I'll cover in more depth in future updates. I've mentioned them here on this page previously, on the Facebook page. And but very quickly, once you figure out the why and the how, it very quickly becomes a question of why not. Now, it might sound crazy if you're in the situation where you're working all day and you don't have that opportunity to sort of scale yourself out of the business or take rebuild to your ultimate lifestyle, and you don't feel that's available. It might seem mad to think that someone can do it and doesn't. But over and over and again, this is what I've noticed, and this is in myself as much as anyone else, is that we get so caught up in being busy and being valid by being busy. Our standard operating procedure is to be busy and effective. And effective is probably the key word there, is that we're not effective all week. We actually, studies will show that you're only really good for 24 hours worth of quality work, effective work in a week. But the real kicker, what I'm trying to get to here, is most guys don't give themselves that bandwidth. And they don't give themselves the 2 days off a week and the extended weekends and the 12 weeks off a year. And I believe that the reason, or what I've observed in myself and others, the reason we don't do it, or there's resistance to it, and we find shit to keep us occupied rather than actually getting on with doing that, is creating bandwidth gives us time to think about stuff. It gives us spaciousness and space to figure out who the hell we are. And it brings up a void, which we kind of feel the need to fill. And you could call, the way we turned this morning with a client of mine, is we said it's like avoiding the void. I'll stay busy and I'll stay validly busy, doing stuff that needs doing, there's no doubt. But things that are in your excellence, not in your field of genius. In other words, we stay busy doing stuff that you're kind of bored by, but you figure you know how to do, but it's avoiding that area of excellence. And so it's avoiding that space where you have complete opportunity to really figure yourself out and realize who you are. Now, I avoided this for about 20 years in the gym business. 17 years I was in that business, and I avoided it because I didn't know who the hell I was until that business was taken away from me, and I liquidated a company, walked away with my life's work ruined. It's a bit like that Rudyard Kipling thing, like your life's work's in ruins, and the poem If, and it's like building it up again with worn out tools. And it's only when it was taken away from me, basically forcibly, I walked away and decided to liquidate the company. But I didn't have a lot of choice, let's be fair. And because I didn't have that choice, it was taken from me, and I got the opportunity at age 36 to have a really good hard look at who the hell I was, in the absence of this external validation called my business, my enterprise, my creation, this expression of myself in the world that I like to think it was. But the reality was that business wasn't me. And interestingly, the first, I was left completely empty, completely lost for the first year or so, particularly in the first 6 months. But what I did do is, in that spacious space that it created, the void that was there, I actually went and got some coaching. I got some help. I created a new vision for my life, which was built on a introspection first. So look at who I was, and then I can go and build from there. And what that allowed me was to move into a coaching business, to go and invest in real estate, and honestly say within 18 months of getting out of that business, which I was out of the gym business, which I was completely fed up with and completely over and done with, I had reinvented myself to such an extent. I knew who I was, and I'd gone out and started coaching. I was enjoying myself immensely. Incidentally, I made more money in the first 18 months in real estate than I'd made in the last 18 years and 17 years in the gym business. So that kind of showed me something as well. It opened up a whole new doorway. And what I said to my client this morning, out of my own experience, and my advice to him was this, and it may or may not be valid for you, but it wasn't until I could let go of who I thought I was and really strip away all the externals before I had space to have a look at who was really there. Because the life I created for myself after the gym wasn't available. I couldn't see what that life looked like from the paradigm I was stuck in. In other words, you know, I was in this little bubble of what I thought I was and what was going on for me, the business and everything else. And I needed to it wasn't what to do next, it was who I was going to be next. And I had to grow into that. And that was a tough process, I'll be honest. It was exciting in its outcome, but I had to ask some very hard questions. I had to face up to shit that I hadn't ever faced before. And it was very confronting. But I didn't have a choice. I was either grow or die. You know, like I would have still been a labourer. Here I am labouring on the farm now, but it's my own farm doing my own stuff. But I would have literally been a labourer because I'm not qualified for anything else. As it was, I ended up going into a higher echelon of the business I was hoping to build. So I hope that has some relevance. If you're in that space thinking to create this 24/40 lifestyle, that's really the thing you'll probably come up against. The how-to isn't as difficult as you might think. I'm going to go into the how-tos in a bit more depth soon, as I said. But really it's about, are you prepared to create that space in your life, and what are you going to fill it up with? And are you prepared to grow into it? So with that, if you want to continue this conversation, we've got our November Campfire Mastermind coming up. There's a few spaces. We're going to create some space for a few guys to start joining our group. It's here on the property. I'll post updates on that, but I've got a package lined up for those who are interested to get involved with our Entrepreneurs Men's Shed. The workshops we run on this property have been described as alchemy. You know, what we do is sort of irrelevant. The outcome has been described as alchemy, and they're good fun. You come away revived and excited and with a new level of understanding. But the next one is going to be all about building the 24/40 lifestyle in real depth and some practical measures, and getting out of your own road in the meantime. So I'll keep you updated on that. In the meantime, I have some dead chickens I need to bury. We had a fox in our property in the last couple of days, or a wild dog, and that's my job for the afternoon. So I hope this finds you all well, guys, and look out for more updates from me soon. See ya.